A very good afternoon, dear students, and welcome to the lecture of Advanced Accounting and Auditing Paper 6 TY Semester 5. I, Professor Shaurya Shah, welcome all of you to my lecture. Dear students, in the last lecture, we solved university sum for ratio analysis. Now today also, I have given you the question in advance. I hope everyone is having it. Today we'll be starting with the university sum, one more long sum and short sum. Fine. I hope everyone is clear with the last sum which we did and with the formulas of ratio analysis. So this sum today, students, is also very easy if you know the concepts and the formulas. Fine. So let us begin. Now the sum you will be having in front of you, that is the balance sheet of Pinky Limited. This is the question number 10 we are solving. What has been given, first we will understand the sum and then we will start solving it. Fine. First, students, as you can see in the balance sheet, the shareholders fund is given. In that, equity share capital of rupees 10 each is given. Equity share capital is 3 lakh. Then general reserve P&L account are given. Okay, that is reserves and surplus. 10% debentures are also given. Fine. Then the next is bank OD is given, creditors, provision for tax and provision for dividend, right? So again a very limited liability side is given, under which you are having owner's fund and then you are having current liabilities, fine. On the asset side, you have been given fixed assets of 6,60,000 as you can see. Stock is 1,80,000. Then debtors, bills receivables and cash is given, right? So what is the sum all about? What they have asked? Again, some additional information is given that you need to see. Purchases, as you can see, it is given 12,35,000. Okay. Average stock is given, right? Now students, whenever you see the term average stock, it should immediately strike in your mind that opening stock or closing stock, right? Either of them will be missing. So in this sum, we are having stock in the balance sheet. So which stock it is? It is your closing stock. So I can find out that opening stock is missing, which I'll be getting from average stock. Fine. Rate of tax is 50%. So whenever we'll find the net profit before interest and tax, then we need to deduct the interest and then we need to do the tax. So for that 50% is given. Okay. Managerial expenses. This is the first time we are having in the sum. So we'll see what we'll do for that. Managerial expenses is given. Keep in mind, debtors ratio is given, students, right? So something must be missing, as debtors are already given, bills receivable is also given in the balance sheet, so debtors ratio is also given. So what will be missing? It will be always sales, because our ratio is debtors plus bills receivable divided by sales, right? So we'll be calculating that part. Okay, what is being asked? You have been asked first the net profit ratio, second is rate of return on equity share capital, third is liquid ratio, fourth is debt equity ratio, fifth is proprietary ratio, and sixth is stock turnover ratio, right? So I suppose you all must be now clear with the sum, what is being asked. So before starting the long sum, right, always make a habit, whenever such information is given, you need to work out some necessary calculations and then we can directly start with the ratio, right? Because once you start with the formulas, working will be separately shown, fine. So what we'll do is we'll first calculate the missing things and then we will start with the ratio. I hope everyone ready with the sum. Fine. Now starting with, this is your VNSGU 2013 students, right? This is sum asked in VNSGU 2013. The very first thing we'll do is to find out the amount of sales, right? So what I'll do is give the heading necessary calculations first, then we'll start with the actual sum. First we are finding out the missing particulars in the sum, right? So what we'll do is first we'll start with the debtors ratio which you are given in the sum. Debtors ratio, you all know the formula, you can write it on your own, that is your debtors plus bills receivable divided by sales into number of days in a year, right? Now students, if you can see, number of days, generally we took it 365, but in this sum very specifically it is given that take 360 days, right? So what we'll do is we'll multiply it by 360, right? So here answer I am having 43.2 is equals to, debtors given in the balance sheet is 1 lakh plus bills receivable given is 80,000 divided by sales. Sales I am having it? No, sales I am not having. So I will put it X into 360. Is it clear, students? Right? Now when you will solve this, x will come on this side, this will be multiplied and then divided, then you will get the answer of sales is equals to how much, right? So sales is equals to, multiply this and divide this, you will get the final answer of sales is equals to 15 lakh rupees. I hope it is clear to all the students, right? So the very first necessary calculation we have done is your sales amount finding 15 lakh. All this will be helpful to you in when you put up the formula. I suppose it is clear. Fine. Now students, second thing, as I told you, you have been given average stock. So whenever stock turnover ratio is asked, you need to find out the cost of goods sold also. For that you require opening stock, right? So what I'll do is I'll find out opening stock, which is missing. Average stock is equals to opening plus closing stock divided by 2, right? Opening plus closing stock divided by 2. So I am having the answer of average stock, right? How much is average stock given in the sum? It is 2 lakh rupees. Opening stock is missing, I'll put X. Closing stock is from balance sheet. Remember, the balance sheet is at the last date, so it is always closing stock, right? We have learnt it for 3 continuous years. 1,80,000 is your closing stock divided by 2, right? Again 2 will come this side and 180 will be deducted from your 4 lakh. You will get the answer of opening stock is equals to, opening stock is equals to 2,20,000 rupees. I hope it is clear. Opening stock is equals to 2,20,000 rupees. So the second necessary thing which we have found out. Fine. Now the third thing, students, you need to find out for getting stock turnover ratio, right? How you will come to know which necessary calculations are to be done? You need to first read the entire sum and discuss it as we had done just now. Then you need to see which particulars are required for the formula and which particulars are missing, right? So from that I come to know that I require sales. So from data's ratio I can get sales, right? More sums you practice, more things you will come to know, and rapidly your sums will be completing. Fine. So average stock we have found out. Next thing you need to do is to find out the cost of goods sold, COGS, right? You know the formula of cost of goods sold. In the last lecture also we did it. It is your opening stock plus purchases less closing stock. Opening stock plus purchases less closing stock, right? I am having all the values with me, students. Opening stock I found out in the previous equation. Purchases given in the sum 12,35,000 rupees less closing stock. Closing stock again given in the sum 1,80,000, which we took in the last equation. 1,80,000, right? So when you will deduct this and add this, you will get the final answer of 12,75,000. 12,75,000 is the answer of COGS which I have found out, right? So the third important thing for the sum you require. Is it clear? I hope everyone is solving simultaneously with me. Fine. Now the next thing, students, is to find out the gross profit, right? Why gross profit is required? Gross profit is required for finding out the, again, net profit ratio, right? So we are not being given net profit. So on the basis of gross profit, we'll be finding the net profit, right? So what do you mean by GP, students? How you can find it? If it was a trading account, we could have directly found out from your credit minus debit, fine? So here GP is equals to sales minus COGS. In the very second lecture of this chapter, I gave you this formula. Again, we have many times used it. Sales minus cost of goods sold, right? How much is my sales? Sales, I have found it out, 15 lakh, right? So all these things are required in advance. If you are not doing it, then at the time of solving the entire formula, you need to show it in working. So beforehandedly make a habit of practicing this thing. Sales minus cost of goods sold. So 12,75,000 is COGS, right? So deduct this thing, you will get the answer of rupees 2,25,000. That is your gross profit. I hope it is clear to each and every student, right? So gross profit is 2,25,000. So what we have done till now is we have found out your sales, we have found out your opening stock, we have found out your cost of goods sold, and we have found out your GP. Is it clear to each and every student? Fine. Moving on, students, to the next part, and the last thing which you need to find out is net profit, right? So net profit, which type of net profit? It should be net profit after tax, right? Why? Because your very first ratio is your net profit ratio, and for net profit ratio you require net profit after tax divided by sales into 100, right? I suppose it is clear. Fine. So net profit after tax, how we will find it out, right? Any clues? Any student? On the basis of which you will find out the net profit, because no information is given regarding your P&L. That is, only profit and loss account is given in the balance sheet, but don't think it is a reserves and surplus, right? So don't think about debt, profit and loss at all. Don't get confused between them. So start with the gross profit, students, right? Gross profit is equals to 2,25,000. I am having it, right? Just imagine you are preparing final accounts. From your trading account, you have just got the gross profit. Now this gross profit will be transferred to P&L account. I hope everyone agrees, right? From this, we will be deducting all the expenses of P&L, but here only managerial expenses are given, right? So what we'll do is, we'll deduct the managerial expenses given in the sum. How much are your managerial expenses? Managerial expenses are 1,05,000 rupees. Already given in the sum, you can see managerial expenses is 1,05,000. Is it clear? Fine. So what I'll get is, I will get the answer of 1,20,000 rupees. What is this 1,20,000 rupees? It is net profit before tax. Net profit before tax. I hope it is clear to each and every student. Fine. Now what we'll do is, directly we will deduct the tax out of it. How much is my tax? Tax is 50%. So 60,000 will be my tax. So I'll get the answer of 60,000 rupees, right? Remember, students, no information is given regarding your debentures interest. That is why we are not taking it. If any information was given, then we could have also deducted the interest on debentures, but don't get confused between them. 60,000 is your NP after tax, right? So net profit after tax, you have got 60,000. Is it clear? Now students, we are ready with all the informations, whatever we have calculated. So now you can start with the actual ratios which they have asked. I hope it is clear. Everyone must have noted down this sum also. Fine. Okay. Shall we start? Fine. Now starting with the very first thing, that is your net profit ratio, students, right? Now net profit ratio, the formula is, first of all, net profit ratio is equals to NP ratio is equals to net profit after tax upon sales into 100. Now whenever students you are ready with the data, then you can easily solve the sum very quickly, right? So that's why I always say, make a habit of preparing the particulars first, then start with the sum, so that you can quickly do it, right? And your working will also look accurate. What is your net profit after tax? Just now we found out in the last equation, students, it is 60,000 divided by sales. Also we found out 15 lakh rupees into 100, right? So what I'll get is the answer of 40%. You can also calculate it along with me only. 40% is the answer of your net profit ratio. I hope it is clear to each and every student. The first equation we have solved. The next thing they have asked is your rate of return on equity shareholders, right? That is equity share capital. So what I'll do is write first of all rate of return on equity capital. Rate of return on equity capital is equals to, I hope you all remember the formula, rate of return on equity capital, right? What is it? In this sum there is no preference capital also, so directly net profit after tax divided by equity capital. For whom we are calculating? For equity, so take equity capital in the denominator. net profit after tax upon equity capital into 100, right? You are having the answer of net profit, students, that is 60,000 divided by what is the equity capital. You can see it in the sum, it is 3 lakh rupees, right? So 60,000 divided by 3 lakh into 100, you will get the answer 60,000 divided by 3 lakh into 100. So you'll get the answer of 20%, right? Because 60,000 is 20% of your 3 lakh. I suppose it is clear to each and every student. Second thing we have found out, the first was your NP ratio. Second is your rate of return on equity capital. When you can find it out very quickly, when you have all the particulars again searched in advance. Fine. Okay. The third they have given is liquid ratio. Right. Be very careful with the liquid ratio. The next short sum is also based on this logic only. Right. So what do you mean by liquid ratio, students? What is the formula of it? It is liquid assets upon liquid liabilities, right? It is liquid assets upon liquid liabilities. Now, what do you mean by liquid assets, students, right? And what is to be taken? So for you people, I am writing as the formula has come for the first time. From your balance sheet, what will take first is your debtors plus bills receivable plus cash, right? Plus, shall I write stock? No. Stock is a part of current assets, but it will not be included in your liquid assets, right? So only three things you need to take: debtors plus bills receivable plus cash. Similarly, liquid liabilities, right? Liquid liabilities, the very first thing you need to take is your creditors, right? I suppose it is clear. Creditors plus you will take both the provisions which is given, right? Provision for tax and provision for dividend. Both the provisions you need to take, right? Now again there is two different viewpoints from various authors, students. Some authors takes bank overdraft in liquid liabilities, some are not taking it, right? But according to university solution, they have taken bank overdraft. So for this particular sum, we will take bank overdraft also. In theory, we have studied that bank overdraft does not form part of liquid liabilities, right? Absolutely correct. But for this particular sum, I am taking it, so kindly note it. Fine. So what do you include in that? Debtors plus BR plus cash. You can do the total of the amounts, right? You are getting the debtors amount, that is 1 lakh, bills receivable 80,000 plus cash 60,000. So I suppose everyone must be getting the amount of 2,40,000 of liquid assets. 2,40,000 of liquid assets divided by liquid liabilities, right? So liquid liabilities, do the total of all the fours, right? So you are having 60,000 plus 194,400 plus 60 plus 60. So in short, it is 194,400 plus 1,80,000. So I'll be getting the total of 3,74,400, right? So what is the final answer you all are getting? It must be 0.64. How do you write it? 0.64 is to 1. What does it show? That my liquid assets are 64% of liquid liabilities, as good as 64%, right? So if my LL is 1, my LA will be 0.64. I suppose it is clear to everyone. Fine. So we have solved three things which is asked in the sum. We'll be starting with the fourth part. What is the fourth thing? It is your debt equity ratio. Debt equity ratio, students, right? What is debt equity ratio? Debt equity ratio, what is the formula? I hope everyone remember. It is your long-term debts. Debt equity ratio is your long-term debts upon owner's fund. Long-term debts upon owner's fund into 100, right? So I hope everyone clear with the formula. Fine. So what is your long-term debts here, students? Long-term debts, what do you consider in that particular thing? Here if you see in the entire sum, long-term debts, there is nothing given, only the debentures, right? So what we'll do is we will take only the 10% debentures amount, that is 2,40,000 into consideration, divided by owner's fund, right? Now owner's fund, what do you take in owner's fund, students? It is your owner's fund is as good as your shareholders fund. So if you see the total, you have to take equity capital of 3 lakh rupees. You have to take the equity capital of 3 lakh rupees plus reserves and surplus, that is general reserve and P&L account, right? So what I'll get is, I'll get the total of 4,65,600. Again repeating, what is your owner's fund? Owner's fund is your share capital plus reserves and surplus, right? So you will get the answer of 4,65,600 into 100 will give me the answer of, if you divide it and multiply it by 100, I will get the answer of 51.55%. 51.55%, right? Kindly check it while calculating whether it is correct or not. 51.55%. I hope it is clear to each and every student. Fine. So 4 things out of 6 we have found out, students. I hope it is clear. Fine. Okay. Now starting with the next part, that is your 5th proprietary ratio, right? Proprietary ratio, what is the formula for that? Proprietary ratio number 5. Please write down. What is proprietary ratio, students? Proprietary ratio is equals to owner's fund upon total funds. Owner's funds upon total funds, right? I hope it is clear to every student. Owner's funds upon total funds, right? So what is owner's fund? In the previous equation only we found out, that is equity plus reserves and surplus, right? So owner's fund equals to your 4,65,600. No need to calculate once again because you have already done it, divided by total funds. Now total funds, what do you mean by total funds, dear students? It is the total funds which you are having on the liability side, right? So no need to do the total. Remember, when the word is total funds, take the total funds. It includes your total of your balance sheet of liability side, right? It includes your shareholders fund, it includes your long current liabilities, it includes your current liabilities, everything. So what I'll do is I'll take the total of 10,80,000 from the balance sheet, unless it is correct, right? Please check the totals also of the balance sheet in university exam. So 10,80,000 I have done, right? So what I need to do now is multiply by 100. So what I'll get is the answer of 43.11%, right? I hope everyone is getting the same answer. 43.11% is the answer of the proprietary ratio I am getting. Is it clear? So out of 6 things we have found out 5 things. In the next and the last thing which is asked is your stock turnover ratio. What do you mean by stock turnover ratio? Stock turnover ratio is equals to cost of goods sold upon average stock. Cost of goods sold upon average stock. Cost of goods sold we have already found out in the beginning. That was 12,75,000 rupees. What is the average stock given in the sum? 2 lakh rupees, right? So you will get the answer, students, of 12,75,000 divided by 2 lakh. So what I am getting is the answer of 6.375 times, right? If you go in decimal, if you convert it, then it may be again we can say 6.4 times, but generally take up to 3 decimal points. So it is 6.375 times. I hope it is clear to every student. So this is your entire 14 marks sums, right? So 6 is equals to your, again includes the marks of your working also, and it includes the marks of your the formulas which you have found out. I hope it is clear to each and every student. Fine. So this is the long sum we have completed. Again, you can go through the sum. If any doubts, solve it on your own. Then you will come to know about the doubts which you are having. Fine. So starting with the next sum which I have given, one short sum, that is again question number 11. That is also a university sum. What has been given in the sum, students? Current ratio is 3.2:1, right? So they have given you the answer of current ratio. They have given you the answer of liquid ratio. What is liquid ratio? Just now we found out, I told you also in the next sum it will be there. What is liquid ratio? Liquid ratio is liquid assets upon liquid liabilities. Fine. So they have given liquid ratio also 1.7:1. Working capital is given directly, right? So what is working capital? It is 1,10,000. There is no bank overdraft in current liabilities, right? So again here we will study there is no bank overdraft. So according to the sum, the liquid liabilities and current liabilities will be the same. Find out current assets, current liabilities and your liquid assets. Fine. So very quickly we'll be starting, students. How we are gonna start? Fine. I give you 30 seconds to think. If you can start with the sum and you can find out the answer from which point we are going to start it. Okay, fine, students. I hope many of you must have thought upon how we are going to start the sum, and you must have already started it. We'll be starting the sum whenever such sum is there. Always start with the thing which is given, right? We have solved similar type of sum also. Always start with the particulars which is given in the sum, students, right? So working capital is given. So I know the formula, one of the formulas for working capital, right? So I'll start my sum with that only. Working capital, the amount is given, right? So I also have the equation. What do you mean by working capital? First of all, students, working capital is current assets minus current liability. You all must be knowing it. Fine. So here in the sum I am having the current ratio. Can I say current ratio shows me working capital, that is my current assets is 3.2, my current liabilities will be 1. So what will be my working capital? My working capital will be 2.2. Is it clear, every student? Fine. Now working capital, if it is 2.2, I have been given the value of working capital in the sum, that is 1,10,000 rupees. So if my 2.2 is 1,10,000 rupees, what will be my 3.2? You can put up this equation, students, right? If my 2.2 is 1,10,000, what will be my 3.2? When I solve this and cross multiply this, I will get the answer of current assets is equals to 1,60,000 rupees, right? I'll get the answer of current assets is equals to 1,60,000 rupees. I suppose it is clear to each and every student. Cross multiplying it and knowing the formula for working capital. Fine. The next thing they have asked is current liabilities, right? So again putting in the same equation, if my working capital is 2.2, that is equals to 1,10,000 rupees. So what is my current liability? My current liability is 1, as you all know. So what will be my 1 equals to? What will be my 1 equals to, right? So this will give me the answer of current liability is equals to 50,000 rupees. I suppose it is clear to each and every student, putting it in the same equation, 50,000 rupees, right? Is it clear to everyone? Fine. So we have found out two things which is asked in the sum. Now the last thing which they have asked is liquid assets, right? So how you are going to find out liquid assets? Liquid assets is equals to, students, liquid assets is equals to, putting up in the same equation, if my current assets are 3.2, right? If my current assets are 3.2 equals to 1,60,000 rupees. So what is my liquid asset? My liquid asset is 1.7. If my current assets 3.2 equals to 1,60,000, my liquid asset is 1.7. So what is the value for that? Cross multiply it and calculate, students. You will get the answer of liquid assets is equals to 85,000 rupees. Liquid assets is equals to 85,000 rupees. I hope it is clear to each and every student, right? This was asked for 3 marks in university exam. If you are clear with the formulas, you know the concept, it will be very easy for you. Ratio analysis is a very scoring chapter, students. Fine. So I suppose everyone must have completed the sum. You are clear with today's part also. Fine. So this is again question number 10 and 11 we have solved. Next lecture again coming with another university recent sums of 2018 and 19. We'll see. Questions I'll provide you in advance. Again, practice questions I'll also provide in the next week, so that once we are clear with the type of sums, you can solve the sums in advance, right? Only thing is prepare a list of formula, students, so that you can start preparing for the sums and you can easily convert your sums, right? So I suppose it is clear. Any doubts, any queries, you can freely post in Google Classroom. We are here to help you out. Fine. Thank you for the attention, students. This is Professor Shaurya Shah teaching you Advanced Accounting and Auditing Paper 6 TY BCom. Have a nice day ahead. Take care.